because I saw your talk back in Belgium at the Growth Conference. Awesome chat, by the way. And you touched a very interesting point, right? About like copywriting being one of the number one skills that a growth marketer needs to be, or needs to be, developing as a skill set. And I wanted to, like, for people that weren't there in your chat or like develop on that, like, why do you believe that, as if you look at it from the growth perspective, the T-shaped marketer, inspired by Brian Belfort, like, why is copywriting so important? How does it fit into being a T-shaped marketer?
Yeah, copywriting is the fundamentals of everything that we do. It actually shows that you understand psychology as well if you're a good copywriter, because good copywriters, their whole job is to transfer emotion to the reader, right? So you have to understand your target persona very in depth. And then, you're using copywriting for everything from landing pages, Facebook ads, webinar scripts, whatever it may be, and even speeches. In your speeches, you want to be as succinct as possible and as clear as possible, right? So you don't want to use extra words. And that's why copywriting is so important, is it plays into every single thing that we do, no matter how small. And many people forget this, and they start with the success and optimizing in mind. It's like this idea where you want to figure out how to run a Facebook ad, but you can't even create good copy. So you figure out how to use Ads Manager, upload custom audiences, and then you run an ad with horrible copy. And you're like, well, I figured it all out. Like, why am I not getting conversions? It's because you don't even understand how to speak to your market. You don't even understand how to write language that will get them to take action. And you have to start there, first and foremost.
Yeah, I think.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say that I think the most common mistake like early stage startups make is that they don't know how to write copy for their product they're just trying to get out. I mean, you only get a few seconds to really explain what you're doing, and just getting a few copy changes can actually make a lot in the beginning stage to really understand what is my audience, who is my audience, and how do I speak to my audience, basically.
100%. And it's hard. One is because people want to do everything, and they want their product to be something that their customers don't see it as, right? So sometimes we build a product because we really like a segment of people, and we're like, we want this segment of people to use it. And if it's not that segment, like, I would have never built it in the first place, because those are the people I like. And then you find out it is a different group of people that like your product even more, but you can't take that. You're like, oh, it doesn't matter. And people will lose, most of the money that they would make on their software or whatever product it is, just because they're selling it to the wrong demographic, and they can't get over that ego hurdle. And it's a shame, because I see that all the time. And
it's, I would say, I mean, the guys as well. You interviewed them, the CEO of Phantom Buster. I spoke to him on the Growth Conference, and I love their story where they started out like saying, we built this stuff for developers, right? Like, we want developers to use this. And then suddenly they see all these growth hackers, using it. And then suddenly I spoke to the guy and said, I knew you guys had product market fit. The moment you had in your pricing, I think it was $29, it said growth hacker. And that's where I realized these guys know who their target audience is, because they really just said the name of the people using it. And you cannot like be stubborn to like stick to your ideal profile, I would say, but sometimes you just have to let the user speak for himself.
Yeah, that's very true. You have to stay nimble, and you have to sacrifice all your ego. If you don't, then you're going to lose every time. And I see that constantly. It's not a problem with 50% of startups. It's a problem with most startups.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because at the end of the day, ego should be the last thing that kills your startup. It should be revenue, right? Not ego. But we're all people, so at the end of the day, it always falls back on us.